Okay, great. So cool. So you go through college. You start in home economics. They make you sew stuff. You absolutely hate it, and you have to rip out all your stitches and redo it on Saturdays. And your friend was really good at it, and you were jealous of her. Then you lived in a house with 12 other girls, and then you graduated. You switched into the teaching degree, and then you graduated from college. Is that correct? Cool.
Well, I met my husband in college.
Oh, cool. Okay, so yeah, talk about that. Talk about Uncle Denny.
He came back from. Well, he was from an army family. He was raised as an army brat, and they traveled all over the United States. And they never really settled down any time until he came back from. And he was a gunnery instructor out in the desert, out in Arizona. And for 4 years he was out there instructing these young kids how to shoot out of the back of airplanes at the enemy.
Wow.
But then he came back and he enrolled in Buffalo in pre-med. Thought he wanted to be a doctor, but the first time that they had a body there that they had to cut open, he walked out and decided he wasn't going to be. I'm going to be a doctor. It wasn't going to be for him.
Oh my God! Could you imagine? Oh my God!
His parents lived in Plattsburgh, so he went back to his parents' home and enrolled in state college there where I was, and we both liked to sing, and he had a wonderful voice. He was very well known for his voice. He sang all of the leading roles in all of the plays. He sang in the churches. I mean, he had a beautiful voice. So I met him in chorus, and started dating. And he lived across the street from a very good friend of this aunt who had encouraged me to go to Plattsburgh, so that I was accepted immediately into the family there, because we were like, we knew each other's backgrounds.
Okay, I gotcha.
But he was a Catholic, which I was not.
Okay.
I was Methodist. I was raised a Methodist.
So I think one difference between the time in which you grew up and the time in which I've grown up is that religion plays a very different role in people's lives today than it does when you were growing up. So
Yes.
can you talk a little bit to that? So people who are Methodist and people who are Catholic probably didn't get along conventionally as well as people who had the same religion and the same upbringing?
Well, this is very difficult to believe today, but in the town where I grew up, it was run by the Methodist Church.
Mm-hmm.
And if you taught in the school, you also had to teach in the Sunday school of the Methodist Sunday school. And they only hired Methodists to teach in the school, which was, it sounds ridiculous to say it's a public school,
Yeah.
But they did. And we had no Jews. I never met a Jew until I went to college, Jewish person until I went to college. We had one Catholic family that lived out in the country a little bit, and I went to school with their son was in my class. So I never didn't know anything about Catholics. And my parents told me that the Catholics worship statues.
Okay, what is...
Yeah, that was what I was raised to believe, that Catholics worship statues.
Okay.
And the Catholics were really looked down on by the Methodists, and of course, probably the Methodists were looked on. The Methodists were supposed to be very strict. You're not supposed to dance, which my mother loved to dance, so we were allowed to dance. We weren't allowed to play cards, but my mother loved playing cards, and my grandparents loved playing cards, and so we were raised to play cards.
Oh, I love it.
So we weren't really very good Methodists.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
My father, he was strict. Every Sunday, get out of that bed and get dressed and get down to that Sunday school. And so we were raised there, and my sister became a very, very strong Methodist at that time. She's since left that and become a Jehovah's Witness, but it's beside the point. And you had to sign, talk about your Methodist. Your grandmother is a great example of what the Methodists taught. I don't think they had to sign a paper saying they would never drink alcohol.
Wow.
And your grandmother, I think, is stuck to that to this day. She would not drink alcohol. She signed a paper and she isn't going to drink alcohol. My mother liked alcohol, though, so.
So you ripped up your paper. You were like, nah, I don't need this. Then you poured yourself in a glass. Clink. Oh, that's funny.
I could do all the things I wasn't supposed to do.
Cool. They sound like the fun. Yeah. You sound like the fun house, the fun family. Where we had families like that where we were, where like the mom and dad would be cool with the kids drinking and stuff. Anyway, okay. So okay.
Anyway, there was a very strong prejudice against marry out of your face, and when my husband and I, when he finally decided he wanted to marry me, and his parents didn't object that he was going to marry Methodist, his sister was teaching too and was dating this guy who was Lutheran, and they've been dating for quite a few years. And so she went to her parents and said, well, if Denny can marry a Methodist, I'm going to marry a Lutheran. And she did.
Okay.
A month later, a month after I was married to Dennis, his sister married a Lutheran.
Gotcha.
And they had 5 children, and she raised them Catholic, but the husband stayed Lutheran. They had a very, very great marriage.
Yeah. It's so, I think that is probably one of the biggest differences, in my opinion, and maybe this is just because I don't know very much about, the time that you grew up, but I feel like that's one of the biggest differences between, marriage then versus marriage now, is that, like, I genuinely, that is not even something I think about, like, when I'm looking to date someone. Like, it's something that I notice. I notice that her religion or whatever, but I don't think about making sure that we match up to the same one because other people might look at it poorly, right? I think that's not an idea that I am super familiar with.
Today, you can marry men marry men and girls marry girls. And,
right.
That was unheard of in my day.
Right.
Homosexual people were just ostracized. You didn't dare even admit it.
Right.
And many of the guys that went in the service, they had to be very careful because you were just ostracized from society. The people had nothing to do with homosexual people, and they thought they were. I think that there's still people of my generation that carry that attitude today.
Yeah. Which can be.
But I have good friends that are homosexual. In fact, my neighbor, Steve,
Yeah. Steve's
he
awesome.
has a partner that lived with him, and it doesn't bother me, but I know it does a lot of people of my generation.
Yeah.